So I basically just grab one of the rhinestones, gently dip it into the glue, and then, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a New Year's Eve makeup tutorial. I can't believe that the year 2020 is almost over. It's been quite a year for all of us, and I feel like we're all kind of feeling the same way. I feel like all of us are looking for that fresh start again and just looking forward to a new year. So I wanted to create a look that was very much me when it came to this makeup look. I basically want to look like an opal. Like, I want to be iridescent. I just want to feel really beautiful, and even though I'm literally going to be staying at home every New Year's Eve, I feel like I'm such a homebody anyway, but I still like to get ready on New Year's Eve and just kind of make it a little bit special. So I'm just going to take you guys along on what I'm really excited to do as far as makeup goes for New Year's. I also want to show you guys some rhinestones that I recently picked up. Well, actually I bought these like a couple of months ago off of Amazon, and I've only used them once and it was off camera, and I loved how it turned out to kind of add some rhinestones to my eye makeup, so it's going to be fun to do something a little bit different that way as well. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to clip my hair back. I already did my brows off camera. I just used my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil, and I'm going to start off with the eyes first. So I'm going to go in with my NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. This one is in the shade Light. You guys already know how much I love to start my eye looks off with this primer. It's just the best. So I'm just going to blend that out with a brush all over the lid. Before I forget, I'm going to add a little bit of like a balm to my lips. This is the Pixi Collagen Lip Gloss, but it's definitely more of like a lip balm. I mean, it kind of looks like a gloss, but it feels like a balm at least. I'm going to let that sit on the lips while I do the rest of my makeup, so by the time we get to the lips, my lips will be nice and prepped. All right, I wanted to use this palette because, I mean, if you ever want to look like an opal, this is the palette you should wear. You know what I mean? I'm so excited to dip into this again. I think it's going to be perfect for the vibe that I'm going for, especially with the rhinestones we're going to do, so let me see. I'm going to start off with the shade Libra, which is like a really pretty lilac color. Oops, I picked up quite a bit on the brush, so I'm just going to distribute this between both eyes. I'm just going to move this back and forth in the crease, and then I'm buffing it up and out as my transition shade. I want this to be like the dreamiest eye look I've ever done, so I'm really taking my time buffing and blending to make sure that it looks literally like cotton candy on the eyes. All right, next we're going to add a little bit of depth by dipping into the shade Off Balance, and I'm going to use this on the outer portion of the lid. Again, we're just kind of starting to build that depth, and I'm taking it into the crease as well, but I'm being a little more precise so we don't lose that lilac that we applied as our transition shade first. All right, I'm just going back in with the brush we used first, and I'm using that to blend the two shades together really, really well. I didn't add any more product on this, I'm just using it to blend. All right, I'm going to take the shade Cosmic, and I'm going to use my finger to apply this. I'm going to start by just kind of pressing this all over the eyelid, focusing this on the inner portion of the lid, and then dragging it out about halfway across the eye. Same thing on this eye. Again, going back in with that brush we were just using, and I'm using this to blend out the edges in the crease. I always love to use this shade right here called Supermoon. It's the most beautiful, reflective shade. So I'm going to layer this right on top of that pink shade we just applied to kind of create even more of that gloss and dimension. All right, I'm going to try something that I've never actually tried before. I'm going to dip into the blue matte shade called Haze. And I'm going to take the smallest amount and just kind of blend this into the outer portion, kind of over top of the pink shades, just so there's like a slight little shift into blue towards that outer corner. I want it to be very subtle though. I'm using the lightest amount of pressure with the brush just to make sure, again, we've got that cotton candy kind of effect where there's not really a starting and stopping point. It just kind of looks like watercolor on the eyes. I'm actually going to take that same color again, tap off the extra, and kind of do the same thing right here, just in this inner portion. But again, I'm being very, very subtle. I'm kind of bringing it up into that beginning portion of the brow. Okay, I feel like that's where I want it for now. I'm going to go ahead and add mascara. Today I wanted to use the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. And I'm just going to apply this on the top lashes first. And I'm not going to put the rhinestones on until the very end, after we've done the rest of our makeup. But I think it's going to really complete the look. That's kind of why I wanted to keep it a lot more subtle, since the rhinestones will be such a focal point. I didn't want the rhinestones to clash with the intensity of an eye look, so keeping it soft and simple I feel like really helps with that. Also, I painted my nails to kind of match the occasion, and I used an Olive and June glitter polish. This is in the shade Exclamation Point. These bright lights aren't doing it justice. Let me see if I can kind of get a little bit with my phone flash. Kind of. There's like a rainbow undertone when you have this on in like more dim light. It's so beautiful. And I felt like it really went with this whole vibe, you know? All right, we're gonna move on to the complexion. I was gonna use a makeup wipe, but honestly, I don't feel like I need to. There's not really fallout. I knew I wanted to use this. I mean, I wanted glowy skin, and I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter is the best little tool for the most beautiful, flawless, glowy skin. So I'm literally gonna put this all over the face, and then I'm gonna blend it out with a brush. And then when I was going through foundations, I honestly really wanted to use this again. This is also from Huda Beauty. It's the Faux Filter Skin Finish foundation stick in the shade Shortbread. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw some lines on the face with this. Okay, now I'm kind of drawing all over. I just want it to be a little more full coverage since it's going to be more of a glam look. And I'm just going to take that same brush actually, kind of buff this into the skin. Okay, once it's kind of buffed all over, I always like to take a sponge and just press that down to make sure there's no brush lines. Okay, so I'm going to use my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer underneath the eyes. I'm using the shade Light Ivory. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dab some of this under the eye. And since we did use some blue in this inner portion here, I'm gonna kind of bring up the concealer a little higher so that it looks more intentional in that inner corner instead of like a bruise. Since a lot of us do have that bluish tone in that area anyway, I wanna make sure it looks like it's supposed to be there. All right, I'm just blending that out with the sponge directly. All right, I'm taking my Real Techniques brush and just making sure the concealer doesn't create too harsh of a line up against the shadow that we already have on that top lid, but I do want a little bit of a shape. So I'm creating that shape, but then I don't want it to be too harsh. So I feel like the brush kind of helps diffuse that line. All right, for powder, I'm gonna use my Ciate London Everyday Vacay powder. This is the coconut setting powder, and it is so incredible for when you really just want an overall lightweight powder look and effect. It does not look or feel heavy on the skin, but it does the trick, and it creates like such a smooth effect, especially underneath the eyes. So I'm just going to use this to set the under eye area. After I've set the T-zone, I'm going back over it with my sponge really gently, just to make sure that it melts into the skin. I'm going to take a little bit of that powder and just set the rest of the face really lightly. Okay, we're going to go back to the eyes now. I'm going to start off with the Nabla Magic Pencil. My camera has a hard time focusing these days. This is in the shade Nude, and I just wanted a bright waterline. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that along the waterline before we start on the lower lash line. All right, I'm going to start off with the shade Off Balance. I'm going to use this on a small brush and start to just work this along the lower lash line. I'm getting really close to the actual lashes, like almost trying to press this in between the lashes. And I'm going from outer corner all the way to inner corner with this. Then I'm going to dip into Libra again, which is the shade we use on the top lid as a transition. And I'm going to kind of take this and go right underneath that shade we just applied to almost create the same type of a transition, but into the lower lash line or under eye area, I guess I should say. Just lightly blending that into the existing shadows on the outer edge too. And then I do want to take a little bit of that blue again. So I'm going to take it on that same brush that I was just using, and I'm just going to kind of put that on the very outer corner, blending it into the blue that I applied earlier. I'm literally using the tiniest amount, but I really like that kind of soft blue effect on that outer corner. All right, I'm going to go back into the shade Cosmic, which is that pink that we applied first on the top lid. And I'm going to load a dense brush with this, and then I'm going to spray it with a setting spray so that I can kind of apply this on that inner portion and not have fallout. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do as far as eyeshadow goes. So I'm going to go back into the Essence Lash Princess mascara and just apply that to the lower lash line. Okay, so next up we're going to do bronzer. I'm just wanting to use something that I know is going to look good. This is one of my very favorite bronzers ever. This is the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade Sunlight. I'm just going to warm up the complexion with this. I always like to take it along the forehead, cheekbones as well. I kind of go across the nose and then along the jaw and also down the neck. I'm going to do highlighter next actually. And I really wanted to use this right here from Bare Minerals. This is the Endless Glow highlighter in the shade Whimsy. This is such a fun duochrome highlighter. It has a very, very intense pink shift, which I thought would be perfect for my opal dreams here. So I'm just gonna add that on the high points of the face, kind of blending down into the area that I'm going to apply blush. I think it's such a pretty highlighter. I'm gonna kind of like take that into the brow area too. I think it would look so pretty to have a little bit of that iridescent pink sheen blending into the blue and purple at the top of the eye look. I just love that. Okay, I'm gonna go into my Maybelline Fit Me blush in the shade Pink. I just wanted like a good solid pop of pink, but something that's a little bit more fresh and a little more on the matte side, so I thought this one would be perfect. Just gonna layer that right on top of the highlighter on the apples of the cheeks. And I'm kind of blending it higher and also kind of wanting to connect a little bit of that to the very, very edge of the eyeshadow. I used my spoolie to brush up my brows and I feel like it made spoolie marks above my brows. So I'm just kind of trying to press that down again. I'm gonna touch up the brows and then we will go on to what we've all been waiting for, which is the rhinestones. Okay, so I touched up the brows. Before we go into the actual rhinestones, I wanna make sure the eyeshadow is exactly where I want it. So I'm actually gonna take that Bare Minerals highlighter and I'm gonna use that in the inner corner to kind of brighten that area up. I think we're ready to begin our rhinestones. So I literally found these on Amazon. I will have them linked down below. It's just a bunch of iridescent rhinestones in a bunch of different sizes. I'm so excited to add these to the look. All right, so all you need is this, and actually came with this little crystal picker-upper tool, which is really helpful. I also have a pair of tweezers handy just in case, and then my Duo Clear Lash Glue. So what I like to do is just apply a dollop of the Duo lash glue to the back of my hand. And then with these rhinestones, you can use any that you have. It's numbered. I'm gonna start out with the number 8. So they're really small. Oh, I forgot to tell you too, it came with this little pencil, which actually helps to stick to and pick up the crystals. Okay, so I had to do one so I could remember how I did this. So I've got the glue on my hand. I actually think I used tweezers. So I basically just grab one of the rhinestones, gently dip it into the glue, and then you have to be very careful. I'm starting off with just the center one. So I want to make sure it's in the right spot, in the center of the eye, kind of under the arch of the brow. Okay, I tried to make them as even as possible. Okay, so those are the biggest ones I'm gonna use. I'm gonna move on to the next smallest size, which is number 9. Also, it's really helpful to wipe off your tweezers between every rhinestone so that it doesn't grip onto the dried glue that's on the tweezer. So I'm gonna take this smaller one and I'm just going to do the same thing. Gently dip it into the glue, and then I'm applying it right next to that first one, but a little lower down. Also, the glue shows up white, but it's going to dry clear, so don't worry if it looks a little messy when the glue is wet. Okay, I'm gonna take another of that same size, and I'm applying it right next to that one, just a little down again. I'm basically starting to create a little bit of an arch shape that's gonna go in the inner portion, and the jewels will get smaller and smaller the further in I get. Okay, so we've got those 3. Now I'm gonna move to the smaller size, which is size 10, and I'm literally doing the same thing, applying it a little bit further down in kind of an arch. I think I'm gonna do one more of this size and then we'll go to the smaller size. So same thing, but a little bit closer. Now on video, it's gonna look a lot faster than the process is in real life. So this is a little bit tedious. The first time I ever did it, it took me a while to figure out how to actually, get the glue on the back and just do the whole process. But I feel like after I figured that out, it's so much easier this time now that I kind of know what to do. All right, we're gonna move to number 11, which is even tinier. And I'm putting that one right here. I think I'm gonna take this tiniest one, number 12. I don't even remember if I used these the first time I tried out these gems. I think that was the smallest size that I did, was the 11s in the inner corner, but I want to do something even tinier since I feel like I've got the hang of it. Oh, I think that's so pretty. It's mostly glue at this point because they're so tiny, but hopefully once the glue dries, you can see that one a little better. Just trying to prep the next one. Just tiny, you can hardly see them on camera. I think that looks so fun. Okay, I think I'm gonna go in with number 9. I'm gonna start to work on this outer edge. I need a little more glue on the back of my hand. It's starting to dry out, so I need some fresh glue. And you don't have to do this many either. You can definitely do a more spaced out rhinestone look, which would also be really beautiful. But for me, with this New Year's Eve situation, I'm just going all out, you know? But it's fun because you can kind of make up any shape that you want. You could do rhinestones like across the lid a little more, kind of like a winged liner. You could do it on the lower lash line. All right, now I'm gonna go back into the number 11 sized rhinestones. Keep forgetting to clean off my tweezers and it really does make a difference. And I just applied that kind of above the brow. So I'm kind of envisioning like this going up and then maybe swooping a little bit. I don't know, I just feel like it needs something a little further out. I did this last time and it was probably the hardest one to place because you want it to be like pretty even on the face, but it's hard to see because it's kind of on the side. I don't know if that's even or not. And I can't really tell on my monitor because I have like this little square that pops up when it's trying to autofocus and I like can't see both, but we're just gonna go with it. Okay, I took one more and I'm kind of going like as if it was diagonally through the brow. Same thing on that side. Hopefully that matches up okay. Okay, I feel like I want a couple more. I think I'm gonna do one underneath. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the size 10 and I want this just right in the center underneath the lashes on the lower lash line. It looks crazy because there's a lot of glue on that. I did not mean to put that much glue, but that's okay because it will dry clear. I'm gonna match it on this side and just place it. All right, I want another teensy tiny one right in the inner corner. So I'm gonna take the smallest rhinestones in the bunch, which in the pack that I have, it's a number 12. And I'm literally gonna put one more kind of in that inner corner. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I would put rhinestones all over my face if I could. I truly feel like under studio lights, it kind of looks more intense than it does in like more dim light, if that makes sense, because you can see the entire rhinestone, but when it's just like dim light, it's so beautiful and so wearable. Again, I kind of went a little overboard, but it's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do something really special, so I put a lot of rhinestones on. You do not have to do this many. You could space them out even more and get a very similar effect. But let's just finish up the makeup look. So I'm gonna step back and assess the situation really quick. I'm just taking my powder brush and blending the bronzer. I feel like I do want to add a little more bronzer, as always. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. And then I want a little bit more blush on the cheeks. We still have to do lips, I guess. I probably should have done this after applying lipstick, but oh well. Okay, I'm gonna kind of blot off the lip balm that's on the lips. We're just gonna keep it simple. I have a NYX lip liner just from another video I recently filmed, and I'll just use this again. This is the NYX lip liner in the shade Natural. I'm just gonna line and fill in the lips with this. I love this lip liner color. I was going through my glosses and I found this one right here from Milani. This is one of my favorite gloss formulas ever. It's the Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper in the shade Moonlight, and it's kind of like this iridescent, shifty gloss, which I thought would be perfect for this look. You can kind of see the shift that it has, so I'm just gonna layer this right on top of the lip liner. And even though for New Year's, I'm not gonna be going anywhere, I'm still gonna lock my makeup in so that it looks amazing all night. I'm gonna use my Urban Decay All-Nighter for this. Okay, here's my handy fan. And then once it's almost dry, I always like to go back in with my sponge just to press everything back into the skin. I want my skin to look healthy and fresh and dewy. I don't want it to look like I'm wearing powders, but I am because I love the longevity that powder products give, but I want it to look very dewy. And then last but not least, I'm gonna set the brows with my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, which maybe I should have done first. I'll just be careful around these rhinestones at the end. All right, now I'm gonna take my hair down. All right, you guys, so that completes this very, very fun jewel opal New Year's Eve look. Obviously, the rhinestones are totally optional if you are taking inspiration from this look. You could totally just apply some sort of a glitter. You could do a little bit of a highlight in the scoopity boopity area like we used to do all the time. So you don't have to use rhinestones, but I will tell you, it's very, very fun, especially when you have the time to do it. And I personally love how rhinestones look on the eyes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I would love to know if you guys have a certain inspiration or a certain vibe that you're going for when it comes to your New Year's Eve makeup. So leave that in the comments down below. I also have more of like a smoky, silvery glitter eye that I did last year. So if that's more your speed, I will have that video in the description box down below. But I'm so happy with how this turned out, and I'm definitely going to be doing this on New Year's Eve. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.